Dear students, welcome to online class of Industrial Economics for third semester students. Myself, Professor Gyamanak H, Department of Economics. In previous video lecture, we discussed about the second industrial policy of 1956. In that lecture, I was explained about the objectives, features and critical appraisal of 1956 industrial policy. Today, let us discuss about another industrial policy, that is 1991 Industrial Policy of Government of India. Friends, before we are going to discuss the objectives, features and critical evaluation of this policy, let us understand the background of this policy. You might have aware that the worldwide liberalization process of 1990s compelled the Indian government to go for new industrial policy, and accordingly it was announced on 24th July 1991 during the tenure of Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh. In other words, P.V. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh are considered as architect of 1991 Industrial Policy of India. Further, the hallmark of this policy is that liberalization, privatization and globalization. That is why this policy rightly described as liberal industrial policy comparing to earlier industrial policies. Now let us discuss about the objectives and features of this policy. The 1991 new industrial policy came into force in order to fulfill the following objectives. Number 1, to consolidate and increase the industrial base of the country. Number 2, to overcome the weaknesses of industrial structure in the country. To maintain sustained, that is continuous growth in industrial productivity and to gain full employment from industries. Number 4, to maintain technological dynamism and international competitiveness. So these are the some of the objectives of 1991 Industrial Policy of 1991. Now let us understand what are the salient features or characteristics of this new industrial policy. The new industrial policy of 1991 exhibits the following features or characteristics. They are: number 1, abolition of industrial licensing. Being the liberal policy, the new policy of 1991 decided to abolish industrial licensing for all projects except a selected or short list of 18 industries which were security and strategic importance. The second characteristic is reducing the role of public sector enterprises. The too much importance of public sector of 1956 industrial policy made the public sector inefficient and loss-making units. To overcome this problem, the new policy of 1991 reduced the number of industries from 17 to 8 industries under public sector control. That means the number of industries drastically reduced from 18 to mere 8 industries under public sector. The third characteristics of this industrial policy is that encouragement to inflow of foreign investment. To attract more foreign investment, foreign direct investment, the government of India decided to give easy approval for FDI up to 51% foreign equity in high priority industries. The next characteristic is encouragement to foreign technology agreements. To add technological dynamism and international competitiveness, the government decided to give automatic approval for foreign technology agreements in high priority industries after the lump sum payment of 1 crore for a period of either 10 year or 7 year, that is 10 years from the date of agreement and 7 years from the date of commencement. The next characteristics is abolition of mandatory convertibility clause. The provision of conversion of term loans into equity of financial institution abolished completely. In other words, mandatory convertibility clause was not at all applicable for conversion of term loan into equity. The next characteristics is amendment of MRTP Act, that is Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act. By amending old MRTP Act, the government abolished threshold limit of all MRTP companies and allowed them to enter into any area of production without obtaining a license. The new MRTP Act provided greater protection to the consumer against the unfair trade practices of MRTP companies. The next characteristic is initiation of disinvestment process. To encourage more private sector participation in industries, the government initiated disinvestment process of public sector enterprises. Then question is, what is disinvestment? Disinvestment means the selling of shares and debentures of public company to the private company with an objective of converting loss-making units into profit-making units. In other words, the withdrawal of government equity from public sector enterprises without transfer of control. Now, let us consider what are the critical evaluation or appraisal of 1991 industrial policy. The new industrial policy of 1991 has mixed opinions. This policy has different views of different people. Number one, the private industries and group of economists welcomed the proposals of the new policy since liberalization measures helped to speedy industrial recovery and faster industrial growth. But some critics warned against the danger of too much liberalization, and liberalization leads to concentration of economic power in the hands of few people. Number two, dominance of MNCs, that is multinational companies or corporation. Number three, threat to national unity and integrity of the nation. Too much interference or participation of MNCs or multinational corporation that leads to threat to national unity and integrity of the nation. This is the apprehension expressed by some of the economists or people against this policy. Conclusion. Despite the above merits and demerits, the new industrial policy certainly added a new dynamism and competitiveness to Indian industries and converts Indian economy into a global economy. With this, I conclude my lecture on the industrial policy. Let us start a new unit in the next class. Thank you.